Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beneath the Silence, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma. I'm your host, Sandy Joy, and I issue a warm welcome to those who have listened or watched my podcasts in the past, as well as a very warm welcome to those who this may be the first podcast they're listening or watching. So thank you for being here. And as a reminder, I do not edit my videos or edit my podcasts. I want them to be real, raw, authentic, and vulnerable because that's what real life is. It's we make mistakes and the dog barks, whatever the case may be. So it's just being real. And I think that's very important for us, especially when we've experienced such, um, you know, devastating trauma from betrayal. So I understand that last week that I had stated in the podcast that I would be touching on boundaries and talking about boundaries this week. However, I changed it up and we will get to boundaries in a couple of weeks. But last week, when I was talking about self-care being the foundation of our healing journey and learning to develop a self-like and a self-love, and I decided to switch it up and we've done the self-care, which was last week. And now we're going to move to the self-compassion, which is the next one. And after that, we're going to go to self-respect and self-acceptance. And it's this place when we have done this. So this will be the podcast next week will be on self-respect and self-acceptance. This is the place that we can actually develop healthy boundaries. So I didn't want to get ahead of myself. And so I'm putting in the self-compassion, the self-respect, self-acceptance. This is where we can have self-like, those healthy boundaries. And that's why the following week I'll talk about the healthy boundaries. Okay. Note, I've already recorded it. um, I've recorded it a number of days ago because I was going to post it for sure. But we're just gonna just switch it up a little bit. So um, today, like I said, which means then today, we're going to talk about something that many people struggle deeply with after betrayal trauma, sometimes before betrayal trauma, but especially after betrayal trauma, and that is that self-compassion. And we may think we know what self-compassion is, but we may struggle with how do we apply it. So I'm going to go into, um, you know, what it is and what it isn't. But I'm gonna start with this. It's because, after betrayal, it often is very subtle, but extremely impactful and powerful. And that this happens. And although it can happen, like I said, before betrayal, most of the time it becomes a part of the impact of betrayal, that we go into a deeper level of self-harm in a way, which we don't have self-compassion. Okay. So instead of turning toward ourselves with care, we absolutely turn against ourselves in a self-deprecating way. Okay. You may hear thoughts like, how did I not see this? How can I have been so naive? What's wrong with me? I should have known better. Right? And if that's you, I want you to know that it's not a personal failure. I felt these things, and I felt like I was a failure in so many ways until I started practicing self-compassion through my own healing journey. And so, you know, it's not a personal failure. It's a response to trauma, especially betrayal trauma. Okay. So, and that's why we're going to explore it. We've got the foundation of self-care, the importance of it. We're going to move to the next level, the next step. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to explore um, what self-compassion actually is, how betrayal trauma impacts it tremendously, what it looks like in real life, and how we begin practicing it. And it's going to take practice. Okay. So let's take a breath through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. And let's begin. So, what is self compassion? So, according to Kristen Neff, and just by the way, I know I mentioned her last week and free resources on her website. I'm going to say it again. There is some wonderful resources on her website. Neff is in Neff, Kristen with a K. So, self compassion, as defined by Kristen Neff, includes three core components. The first is self kindness. For me, it's later in the day when I'm recording this, versus self judgment. And we're so good at judging ourselves. Okay. So, self kindness is speaking to yourself with care, with understanding, with gentleness, and I'm going to add with forgiveness instead of criticism. We are really, really good at being self-deprecating, but and not speaking well of ourselves. So the second component, according to Kristen Neff, is common humanity versus isolation. And as we know, we tend to isolate in betrayal trauma. We tend to internalize in betrayal trauma. And so this is common humanity, is recognizing I'm not alone in this. Pain is a part of being human. It's the heartbeat, right? It's the ups and the downs. And betrayal trauma is definitely a down. Okay. The third part, I apologize for my yawning. I will get through it. Okay. The third part is mindfulness. And mindfulness is being in the here and now. Okay, so we tend to think mindfulness is that meditation, whatever the case may be, and it actually is simply being present, being able to know your surroundings. Okay, rather than the over identification. We tend to over identify, but usually in a self-deprecating way. Okay, so being mindful is being able to notice the pain and being able to move towards it rather than becoming overwhelmed by it. It's noticing it and saying, I know you're trying to tell me something. And if it's not a time where we can work with the pain, it is simply wrapping it in a warm blanket in your imagination, tucking it away, saying, I'm coming back for you. Pardon me. When it is a good time to deal with the pain. And that's, maybe when you get home from work, because dealing with the pain while you're at work may not be appropriate. But it is not trying to shove it away and never dealing with it. Because if we don't look at it, we don't move towards it, it's going to come rearing its head back. And it's going to be bigger and worse. That I can guarantee you. Okay. So, simple truths. Self-compassion is not letting yourself off the hook. Okay. It's not ignoring reality. And when I say letting yourself off the hook, I apologize for the yawns. Okay. It is being in a regular healing relationship with yourself. That sometimes we make decisions that 5 minutes later, 5 hours later, 5 days later, 5 months later, 5 years later, we look back and go, that was dumbass. Why did I make that decision? Why? You made the decision with the knowledge you had in the moment. And in that 5 minutes or up to 5 years or 15 years, whatever it is, you may get new information. Or in the more you learn and know, the more that knowing grows. And we may not make the same decisions 5 minutes later or 15 years later. than we did. So it's not about beating self up. It's making, you know what? I wouldn't make that same decision today or in this moment. I made it with what I knew at the time, what I felt at the time. Okay. So it is being self-compassion is being in a relationship with yourself in a different way, right? Also remember that we are so good at breaking ourselves down, but struggle with building ourselves up. And self-compassion is not only necessary for healing, it is necessary in beginning to build ourselves up. And this isn't a self-centered narcissistic thing. This is that we're kind to self, that we learn eventually that next level of respecting ourselves and accepting ourselves, as we are, that we don't need validation from, outside sources, that we're able to validate ourselves. Okay. So how does betrayal trauma impact self-compassion? Well, it disrupts that relationship with self, hugely disrupts that relationship. And yet, this relationship is the most important one we'll ever have in our life because we're with ourselves 24/7. Right? Okay. It impacts because of internalization. And when we internalize, this is self-blame, that we may begin to believe and behave in a way that it has to be my fault or parts of it are my fault. No part of betrayal, and I'm going to be very clear here, no part of someone else's actions that betrayed you is your fault. Zero, zilch, none, F all. No part is your fault. And we begin to believe in that internalization. I should have known. There's the should word where we're shooting on ourselves. How could you know something that was so secretive? When you trusted and loved and or loved. Okay? Another way of impact is loss of self-trust. When we lose our ability to trust ourselves, and many people say, like, how do I learn to trust my partner again or my boss again? Or how do I learn to trust men or friends or whomever? It's we start with that self-trust. And that's going to be a podcast down the road as well. So you may question your own intuition. You don't trust your intuition. You question your own judgment. I don't make good decisions. Well, I can argue that with you because we make multiple decisions every single day that we don't even think about. Do I get out of bed or not? We tend to do it. Okay. We may question our reality, that our own reality, because that reality now is fragmented. And that's part of the impact of betrayal. Okay. Self-abandonment. We may ignore our own needs, override our own feelings, ignore again our instincts and what's right for us. We develop shame and humiliation. And shame says something is wrong with me. I'm a bad person. And it's actually not our shame. And especially because betrayal is relational, that shame can be projected onto us and we take it as ours rather than, oh, I'm going to put up this guard. That's not my shame. It wasn't my actions. Again, it's never wrong to trust. Okay. And it impacts truth. Self-criticism often feels like control, but it actually keeps you stuck, keeps you down, keeps you in a self-deprecating place. And there's no control in that. It may feel like control, but it's not. It's harm. It's a way we harm ourselves. So, what does self-compassion look like then? It's not grand. It's not this big thing we announce to the world. It's very quiet, often very, very quiet. And it may look like pausing when we need to pause rather than pushing ourselves and pushing ourselves. It can look like speaking gently to ourselves in a non-self-deprecating way. It's allowing emotions without judgment. Feel them. Give yourself that time to feel that pain, to feel grief, to feel anger. It can be resting without guilt, practicing self-care in whatever that means for you in the moment without guilt. Those are components of self-compassion. So an example shift, instead of, there's a thought that comes through, I am so stupid, or you may add the F-bomb in there, I am so fucking stupid. Shift to, that was painful. And I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. How does that feel? Practice it. Saying, I am so stupid, to, that was painful. And I did the best I could with what I knew at the time and the place I was in emotionally at the time. It's giving yourself grace. Another example, I was so stupid to trust him. Shift to, it is never wrong to love and or trust. What is wrong is the actions of the perpetrator who desecrated that love and or trust. That's what's wrong. It's the actions of the perpetrator. It's never wrong to love and or trust. So the next section here that I'm going to talk about is actionable steps. What can we do? Right? Notice your inner voice. We all have it. Voice in the back of the head. Sometimes it's in our own voice. Sometimes it's in somebody else's voice. Maybe even the perpetrator's. What are you saying to yourself? Or what are you hearing? What messages have you learned? Notice them. Notice that voice, whichever voice it is. Notice the message. Just sit with it and notice it. Don't try to push it away. Try to change it in the immediate. Just notice. Notice that it's there. The second step is pause. Interrupt the automatic response, that voice. And ask yourself, is it kind? And if not, stop it in its tracks. And you go, how do I do that? You can give that inner voice grace by saying, I know what you're trying to tell me. And this is the way I felt I had control in the past or felt protected in the past. But now I know that isn't true. So thank you. Thank you for showing me, and telling me this is the way, this is what I've always done. But I realize when I listen to that statement, I'm just hurting myself more. So I thank you, but I'm going to tuck you away because I don't believe this anymore. It's lack of control, and I'm hurting myself. So now we're going to move to the third step, and that's reframing. And ask yourself, what would I say to someone I really care about? Okay, so you hear this voice and you're saying, thank you. Allow it, give it grace. Give that inner voice grace. Thank you. You're trying to protect me in a way that I felt I had control in the past, but I know that isn't true now. I've learned. I've just been hurting myself. So, what would I say to someone I care about? Even if you don't feel that you care about yourself, reframe it. If this was your best friend or your child or someone else, what would I say to them? And reframe your statement with kindness. You hear that voice, wouldn't tuck you away. Thank you for being there, but this is what I'm going to say instead. And maybe then we can move on to step 4 and offer kindness, like these very phrases. This is hard, and I'm allowed to feel this way. It's hard. Give yourself grace. Acknowledge it's hard. Acknowledge and give yourself permission to feel. You deserve to feel anger, the grief. And then use your body. Remember last time I said about hand on the heart? Just do that, or just feel your pulse, and slow your breathing. Just breathe in through the nose, slowly out through the mouth. And then practice consistently. It's has to be for pathways to develop in the brain. We have to practice. Okay. So practice what you want to say to yourself. And self-compassion is a skill. It's not a personality trait. It's a skill that we have to learn, and we have to create those new practices. So, and this is about daily practice. Sometimes multiple times a day if you can, if you notice that those voices or that voice, being self-deprecating. So how can we do this? Through journaling. And like I said before, you don't have to write it. Talk into your phone. Okay. The journaling doesn't have to be something you write down. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. Looking at yourself in the mirror. Writing a kind message to yourself on a Post-it note and place it on your bathroom mirror, on your fridge door, or both. And why I say bathroom mirror or fridge door is because we tend to go to those places, often. Maybe if you're in your car a lot, put it on a sticky note on your dash, someplace that you will see it on a regular basis and you can read it. And begin that message with an I statement. That's compassionate. I am kind, including to myself. I am a good person. This is how I know. Okay. Do gentle check-ins with yourself. How are you feeling in any given moment? Giving yourself grace. Okay. So what do you do if you're triggered? Instead of like, what's wrong with me? Like, okay. Try, what do I need right now? What is my body requiring? I'm going to listen to my body. And a reminder that self-compassion may feel really uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. It's okay. It takes practice to begin to build a new pathway in our brain of learning, doing, and being. Okay? It takes practice. And I don't mean practice just in a day. I mean practice. Research has shown it takes actually 21 days of practicing every single day for a new pathway to begin to develop. And old pathways, I think of a meadow where the weeds or You can use colorful flowers. We've trumped it down, trumped it down, trumped it down. Now it's just mud, it's dirt. But when we stop going that way and we go a new way, those flowers, and grass and stuff can start to grow again. And we can start creating multiple pathways in our brain of new ways of being. But it's healthy and growth producing and healing. So remember, we are doing these activities to work towards that next level of self-respect and self-acceptance, which is the place we have self-like and those healthy boundaries to get to self-love. And again, I'm going to say again and again and again and again, self-love is not about narcissistic or self-centeredness. It is about liking and loving yourself enough to not put up with abuse, to not, when you're being disrespected, to be able to advocate for yourself, that you don't have to stand and listen to someone disrespecting you. You get to take care of yourself. Okay. And in closing, if self-compassion feels hard, you are not alone. If you are learning something your system may not have experienced before, and and every small moment of compassion is a step back towards yourself, towards reclaiming yourself, towards healing. And remember that you're not broken, even if you feel that way. You are worthy of care, especially from yourself. And 3 takeaways here is self-compassion is kindness, shared humanity, and mindful awareness. Betrayal trauma disrupts self-compassion through shame and self-blame. Self-compassion is a practice, not something you either have or you don't. It's a practice. It's something you learn, and it becomes a habit, a good, healthy, growth-producing habit. So thank you. Thank you for being with me today, Beneath the Silence, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma. Remember that healing is possible even through the deepest, darkest, cavernous pain. Okay? If this podcast resonated with you, or if you have ideas for future podcasts, something you would like to hear, please reach out to me to send me an email or comment if you feel comfortable commenting on YouTube, and just let me know what you think. I really appreciate that. And it's email at sandy@sandrajoy.ca. If you're able, please like and share the YouTube or Spotify, share the podcast. Remember, it ups the algorithms so other people can find it easier and find their own community. And also remember that I said that we'll talk about next week is going to be self-respect and self-acceptance. And that's the place for that self-like develops. I am going to mention I am planning a retreat regarding much of this. So it will be 3 full days and 4 nights. So we will arrive in an afternoon to be able to check in at a resort. It's going to be a resort within about a half an hour of Barrie, Ontario, where I live. And it's going to be a resort that will offer the accommodation. All meals will be included. So that's 3 meals a day, plus we're going to have workshops in the morning. We're going to have group sessions in the afternoon, support group. It'll be a support group based on the theme of the workshops in the morning. And know that you don't have to attend any or of the workshops if you don't want to. It's you're going to be 100% in control and of your what you need. You know, you can come and meet and attend some or all, attend group or one or two instead of all three. Then there'll be free time, and then we'll have um, on the first night when we or first day when we come, it'll be in the afternoon. You'll check in, have dinner, and then we'll meet in the meeting room just for a meet and greet, as well as or maybe we'll do the meet and greet first. We may even actually do the meet and greet first. We may check in and have dinner after. And again, we can sit as a group for dinner, or you can sit by yourself or somebody else you have met. No pressure to do or be anything but what you need. Okay. So in the meet and greet, it is going to be about guidelines for, for the workshops and group. Um, and then, you'll be given a workbook at that time. That workbook, you can start it, you can do it during the workshops. You can not write in it at all. It's going to be completely up to you what is best for you. Okay? No pressure, again, to do, to be, whatever. It's learning. So each of the 3 full days, we're going to do workshops in the morning, group in the afternoon, and then we will have um, on the first night and third, not the first night, we're going to do the meet and greet, have dinner. The second night, first full day, we will meet after dinner for an hour to do an activity. So um, if you're thinking of coming and like to come and have some ideas about that activity, and the activity will just be for an hour, and it will be a calming. So I'm thinking I'm going to have a yoga instructor come in. I'm thinking axe throwing. So when some of the workshops is about that anger and self-abandonment, and then we may, so that the second full day will likely do axe throwing before dinner, because time of year, it may be getting too dark outside. So it just will be something we can do, for fun. And again, you can come, and if you don't want to throw axes, you don't have to throw axes. Okay. If you decide to do something else for yourself, that's what you do. Okay. And then the third day, again, workshops, group. We'll have after dinner, there'll be that hour of whatever that activity will be. I'm still in the planning stages of that. And then the last morning, it's you leave after breakfast or whenever you're ready, to leave. And but it'll be checkout day unless you choose to stay longer, and that will be, completely up to you. What you do, and you pay for that separately and whatever. But so if you're interested, please send me an email at sandy@sandrajoy.ca. I'm still working out what the cost will be, but I'm looking around between $3,500 and $3,700, of which when you register for the course, 50% will have to be paid up front. And then we can do a payment plan or full payment, whatever that looks like. So just wanted to put that out there. Every podcast that I do in the near future, I'll be mentioning it again. I'm looking at September right now, September 23rd to 27th. If I get enough responses, otherwise I'll move it to May of 2027. But right now we're looking at September. So we can still have nice weather and don't have to worry about snow for driving, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. And so as we end, just again, a gentle reminder. I see you. I hear you. I believe you. Until we meet again. Thank you.